Thanks, Pallavi. That was a very exhaustive introduction. And wonderful opening note. Dinesh and I should thank you a lot for me to have this opportunity in front of such an esteemed audience. Teaching fraternity and principles are someone who I really get inspired with, and those are the ones who have made me who I am. They are the ones who are responsible for our coming generations. So thank you for the wonderful opportunity and look forward to interacting with all of you. So as I spoke to Dinesh on what should I speak, it is very liberating to know that I don't have any slides. And so I'll just speak through broadly. I thought about having my introduction and three broad perspectives from my life experience and professional experience, which I want to share with you and spark some thoughts. Before I do that, I have a question for all of you. Very simple question. And the question is, when you were in class 10th or latter part of your schooling, how many of you predicted that you will be in your chosen profession which you're doing now? Please raise your hand. Oops. So if I ask my team, also no hands go up. So let's park that thought for some time. So let me start about my introduction, a quick one. So I hail from a joint family, a middle class background, studied in 3 different cities and different schools. And I realized early on that the ticket to success in the family, especially joint family, is to be good in academics and get good marks. And that resonated with me, and by God's gift, I was okay in my memory and academics, and I really cracked it. I kept on cracking academics, and I really loved the exam system. When I was around, when people are like preparing at the last minute, I'm like walking, I'm finishing the exam 30 minutes before. So I used to have a lot of fun. And all the kudos used to come at home. Though there was one aspect you heard in my introduction about running, but I was physically very, very weak. And so annual sports days or any event on sports or physical activities was alien to me. And I will stay away from annual days, especially sports, and think that is meant for a different species, not me. And that's how life moved on. Thanks to my school teachers, wonderful teachers, simple, humble teachers, who cleared my fundamental concept of science. And science is much broader than physics, chemistry, biology. And I had a bent to do engineering. I had that clarity at least. And I cleared engineering. Somebody in the family told 2+ decades back, you need to have 2 professional degrees to succeed in India. A lot of my friends went to US, but I had this thing of staying in India, peer pressure. So I went and again, luckily got selected for MBA. And life started from there. I worked in engineering, as Pallavi mentioned, diverse experience, management consulting, operations, sales and marketing, digital marketing, now managing international teams. So it's been fun. I think I have a lot of gratitude towards life that I have been given those opportunities. I've been touched by some amazing mentors and leaders who believed in me. So over a period of time, all of us, a lot of us are a part of this sandwich generation, taking care of our younger kids and also taking care of our parents and taking care of ourselves, whatever time is left. And we as a generation have seen things change massively, starting with radio, then to Doordarshan, after that the good cable TV with some extra connections, and then after that you have the on-demand TV, digital revolution, you name it. And this is just one aspect of the change we have seen as a generation. We have seen massive changes in the education system, in terms of how things in different industries work. And that brings me to the first of the 3 themes which I want to land, which is around change. So what I'm going to say is nothing which is not known. So change is the only constant. Famous philosopher, Greek, philosophers, Heraclitus said that. And that is the only constant is going to be. These days, generations change in 5 years. In our times, generations used to be like, okay, 20 years, it's another generation. These days, actually, generation changes in 5 years. Sometime back it was 10 years. Technology, and I work in a company which is very inspiring to work for, is disrupting everything. Things are changing extremely fast. Industries are changing. Socio-economic factors are changing. Sometimes we don't realize those changes on a daily basis, but they are massive. Companies go defunct in no time, and new companies emerge in no time, and they succeed. So these are the factors of changes which will continue to be there forever. And the dynamic and the pace of these changes is only going to increase. In this world, what are the skill sets we want to have our children carry to manage and cope the change? It is a big thing, right? I thought about two things which we can focus on. First is around learning agility. Learning agility is about knowing the concepts, which actually we do a very good job, but then applying those concepts to real business problems. The world out there, the problems are very, very ambiguous. It varies, and the factors which are behind those problems are sometimes unimaginable. And that's what businesses cope every day. So learning agility is about applying the concepts to real problems and create new thinking and learning. The second piece I will touch upon is adaptability. In my life, and I think each one of you can relate to, personally and professionally, we are not trained for everything. There are many roles, jobs, functions which I have done, and I had to continue to adapt myself. So what does adaptability mean? How does one look at it? I think the first and foremost things in my experience I have learned the hard way is to let go of your ego. Easier said than done. Ask the expert who has been in that situation. Irrespective of the hierarchy, irrespective of seniority, there are experts. Go ask them. Also, see the brighter side in things. Things may be tough. But on top of it, one of the most important thing I will say is accepting failures and making mistakes and being okay with it. It's a very, very tough one. Even in our corporate environment, that is a tough one. But I have seen people who really do well and succeed are okay with that. How many times we read in the newspaper that some of the brightest, some of the best are not able to cope with one slight failure, and there are unfortunate incidents which happen. What is the culture we are creating in our system to at least have those conversations that it is just not the top or the winner, but then you can also be a winner one day. You need to learn from your mistakes. So those are two things, learning agility and adaptability. And how do we do it in our schools? We have academic pressure, we have to get the results, which is all good because they are fundamentals. I think there are interesting things which can be tried. As simple homework, one can, after a concept, and that happens actually in some of the schools, tell that which are the one or two business, life problems or problems you see, go talk to your parents, which you want to apply this learning. Come back, have a reflections day in the school, and let the kids talk on what are the reflections they have from their learning journey. One of the best practice I have seen where my kids go Rockwell International School is they change cohorts of sections every year. And that's a very nice way to take them out of their comfort zone. Adaptability is all about, being out of comfort zone. We all want to be in comfort zone. So if they change sections, they make sure that there is diversity of groups they interact every class. And yes, my kids come and complain, but that has worked out well, because corporate world, you don't choose your manager, you don't choose your team. You have to adapt. Also let the kids, be open and come back and reflect that how was this subject? How is the teaching curriculum? If they were teachers, how will they handle the class? Empower them. Let them come back and share something. It should be self-reported. So there are many interesting ideas which can open up some of the thoughts around how to manage change. So that is the first theme around change. And there is a second theme which I'll come to, which there are things don't change as well. What are those things which will not change? And any thoughts? Yeah. So the concept of business economics will not change. okay, we will reach an utopia where everybody is equal, but business economics will drive things in future, demand, supply, profit. That is not going to change. We still will be working with people. I know we have made some attempts on artificial intelligence. We have a long way to go where we just interact with machines, but people interaction will still be there. That brings the point to relationships which you have with people. But more than that, what has not changed, and this is more philosophical in my thinking, is our good old wisdom, our pieces of spirituality, our pieces of good for everyone and theory of abundance, which are basically the values. So for an individual, what we need to do is to ingrain these values which will help them lead the changes. Those values become your go-to whenever any change is coming to you. And what are these values? I will say three. First is ethics and integrity. Today's world is all about shortcuts, it's all about recognition, it's all about fame, it's all about victory. And in that process, people take shortcuts. They are humans. I think that needs to be clarified. Our kids are much more smarter than us. They can understand what is right, what is wrong, and what is grey. And that clarity they should have. I learned that early on in my career, and that has really helped me. I had some difficult times, but I stayed true to this. In corporates also, I think we can do a good job of speaking more about it, and we have examples in political system, in corporates. You can see, life comes a full circle. So that has to be clarified. The second thing I will say is compassion. Now in compassion, we hear about this topic of diversity and inclusion. Actually that topic is there forever. So ability to appreciate differences is extremely important in kids. I have a boy and a girl, and the first thing I hear is boy versus girl. And I know that's a natural thing, but how do you appreciate differences and kind of build on it? Mental health is becoming an epidemic. Neurodiversity, concept of that around us, and through our family's connections, we'll have at least somebody whom we know. How do we appreciate those differences? And the third thing I will say is humility. Now humility a lot is related to simplicity, and I have been again blessed with really humble teachers, leaders whom I get a lot of inspiration on. But I think more than simplicity, the piece on humility is humble people are much more comfortable in their own skin. They are not impacted by what's happening outside. They're open to learn, and they're very, very comfortable in their own skin. And these are the people who can see patterns, who can see things, who can appreciate differences and create magic. So how do we inculcate these values in our education system? Very, very big question. And one can argue these are things imparted in the home by parents and family. I think we should do that. Like when I ask my children, why is that person a good friend of yours? Both of them say a word, kind. Kind as a word is a very deep, for the kids to kind of understand, but they get that. So I feel proud about it. But on a lighter note, I say just be kind to your parents also. So how do we build this for in our curriculum and all? I think the kids spend a lot of time in school. Teachers are a wonderful role model which can inspire this. Parents, yes, we all have a responsibility towards it, but somehow kids listen at times more to teachers. Even if you tell the same concept to them, they will relate more with teachers. So what can teachers do? Teachers can share their values. Teachers can celebrate behaviors versus marks, at least 1 out of 10 class. Can they observe who is helping others? Small observation through the day. They can obviously look at that. So, also a lot can be done through our system in terms of calling that out. So that there are multiple ideas, I think, which can be called out. Let the kids go back and talk to their parents and get the values of their parents. Engage parents in a conversation, and they report back. And they report back one thing which they have done around that value in the month. Self-reported, everything self-reported. create a board where they can paste their things, well, versus a lot of academic work which they do also give that space. And the third thing which I have is which combines the change and not change, is the notion of constant improvement. As human beings, as gifted species, I think we have always evolved for the better. The excellence, the drive for excellence, which heard from Dinesh, I think we have to be having an endeavor to get better every day. That notion landed to me a decade back, and that was just on one aspect, on fitness. But it has expanded a lot to various other aspects on my, of course, professional development also is a part of it. How do I be a better leader? How do I, be a better professional, mental development, spirituality, all those aspects. How am I a better father? How am I a better son? And vice versa, mother, daughter, father-in-law. How am I doing better in my relationships? Constant endeavor to improve every day. Be the best version of yourself in your life for that day. So that's a journey. 1% improvement a day is a transformation by the end of the year. And each of you can reflect how many times have you gone through a journey of self-improvement, and it is so reinvigorating and so energizing. But the moot point here is it has to be self-driven. And how do you do that with kids? Today, the next generation is much more smarter than us. Genetic mutation has happened. They are brilliant. They get the concepts what I used to get in half the time. The difficulty is how are they applying themselves? How do they have the hunger to improve? I came from a generation of resource constraints. Those constraints are lesser now. How do we channelize their energy so that they also look at getting better every day? Not necessarily all the time on marks, but other aspects of life. And there are two things, if we can impart that, which is a journey even in corporate, we are on, is the ability to introspect. We all look at the world outside. It's all a relative world. That person did that, so I have to do this. My yardstick for success is the other person, not me. How do I look at having that yardstick within me? So how do I baseline that? I think that is a very, very critical thing for us to keep in mind. And then the second thing, once you baseline and introspect, you are constantly having the discipline and rigor to improve. And we have amazing rigor in our academics, by the way, so it leans there. And how do we do that in our schools? Just few ideas, there can be many. Goal setting. New Year is around the corner. You can ask your kids to have a resolution day. Go back, again engage parents, come back, create a balanced scorecard of what are the things you want to improve. Academics, fitness, your sports, your passion, things which you are uncomfortable. Maybe it's public speaking. You want to, and then how do you want to execute is have one public speaking session, come and request. So empower the kids, you can have that. I do that with my family on a table every end of the year, though I can follow it up a little better, I feel. So those are the three things I had. The change, things which needs learning agility and adaptability. Things which are not going to change is around value system. And then the notion of constant improvement so that they become the change agents. And primarily to do anything, there are three things to keep in mind. There is a mindset, there is a skill set, and there is a tool set. What we do wonderfully well in our system is we impart the latter two, which is the skill set and the tool set. But I think if we can focus on mindset, that will be brilliant. So that's it from me. Thank you.